Good afternoon, everyone. We're a little later due to a few technical hitches, and we don't have Luke or Tyler this week. But this week on the False Nine podcast, making his debut, is Mr. Jack Watson. Hello, Jack.
Hiya.
Hi.
Donny.
We'll get right into it. A few things to look at this week. First thing, obvious place to start. Man United beat West Ham with a late goal at the weekend. And so it's now 11 games into Ralph Rangnick's tenure as Manchester United manager or interim manager. How is he doing? How do you think, Jack?
I feel like he was brought in and the ideas are there and you've got a good groundwork here, but he's an interim manager and I don't feel like he should be. He's on until the end of the season,
Yeah,
essentially, and you feel like his ideas, his whole gig and press and that, if you give him a summer window to get in the players he wants, to sell who he doesn't like, I feel like United would be at a far better stage than if they have to hit the roulette again on some manager who could easily just do what happened to Van Gaal and Mourinho. It's not. Does he have enough time to even get his ideas onto the pitch? Does he have enough time
yeah,
to get the players under his with the right mentality? It's
yeah. It's
what
it's
you mean.
interesting. I think he's doing a reasonable job. I mean, he's had one loss, I think, in 11 since he's been there.
Yeah,
Although, admittedly, the
it was
fixtures
the
haven't
goals.
been that hard. I mean, the
No, yeah,
bigger tests are still to come. But I think for Man United, just this season under Rangnick, I mean, I just feel the reason they've gone downhill is earlier in the year was Solskjaer, his revival kind of at United came 2 years ago, almost to the day, because they bought Bruno Fernandes, and that was the
yeah,
man who kind of made everything click. Suddenly they had pace everywhere, and there's this player who can dictate play and find these players, and they
yeah,
could play on the counter. Then last year, I thought he probably should have got Footballer of the Year. Started this year well. Then whether it's because of Ronaldo coming and they've had to change, I don't know. But he's lost form. They lack
yeah,
that central player without him, and I think the fact he's found a bit of form under Rangnick is probably why they're doing better. I mean, for me,
yeah. And the Ronaldo one is an interesting one because he is, one of the best players in the world still. But you have to wonder if he's causing this extra distress in the locker room because he has this ego and he is pressuring the whole team to get to his level of our mentality or consistency or
hmm,
hard work. And you feel like, is he doing the manager's job for him? Is
hmm.
he creating a problem? Which it's debatable if that's a help or a hindrance really
Yeah,
for United. It's
yeah. I think with Ronaldo, it's interesting. He's obviously frustrated,
yeah,
but I don't know if that's frustration with the club or maybe it's starting to be frustration with himself because
yeah, it could be.
he's not clearly. I think at Juventus because they're so dominant in Italy and he only really had to play as a number nine and just be the finisher. I think that kind of hid some of the issues with him, but he is ultimately 37 next month,
Yeah,
which expecting him to be what he was in first time around at Manchester United just feels perhaps a bit unfair on him.
yeah,
But the other thing I kind of thinking is even though I didn't think it was a great move for them, I kept thinking of when Zlatan went there. A similar sort. I think he was a little bit younger, but similar phase in his career,
yeah,
and he was absolute beast mode when he was there for that year until he got injured. And with Ronaldo, it's just not quite happened. For me, I think Ranić's handled this quite well. That when there's been a storm, like when Ronaldo got substituted, he just explained it, and the story
yeah.
kind of died. And yeah, I yeah, I think Ranić's doing as an interim boss. I don't think anyone, for me, I don't think anyone could particularly do this better under the
No,
circumstances.
yeah. I'm like, I feel like he's doing so well as an interim that it'd be funny for like United if the rest of this year goes well. You know, if it's his close to be in this consultancy role for another 2 years, then give him it. But if he wants the option to be a more permanent manager, then why not? You know, if you can keep the media happy, if you can keep Ronaldo from getting too low and there's morale, and then therefore the whole squad has a head low. You know, it's a promising start. I feel. You know, where
Yeah.
as I say, 11, 12 games in, it's
I suppose the question ultimately of whether he what this consultancy thing means. I mean, if that means they can pretty much do whatever they think is right at the end of the season, then that's a good thing because they can adapt. But I just wonder, what do you think the minimum he has to achieve this season is for him to be the manager next season, rather than going upstairs to sort of help the technical department?
I feel like if I was the board, if I'm owning Man United, which I think is a position that no one wants because it's much pressure, but I
Yeah,
think top four at this point, if he can at least give it a good go, because for the past few seasons, Man United have been, even if they haven't been great, they've been in around the Champions League spots, you know, and
yeah.
the end of knockouts this year. I
Hmm.
feel if they don't embarrass themselves against Atletico and if they qualify for top four, then really,
It's kind of mission
uh,
accomplished, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because I always feel with Solskjaer, it was that last 16 tie against, I think, PSG, where they really pulled the rabbit out of the hat, and it wasn't that they were
yeah,
especially great. They got a late goal.
yeah.
That
It was
seemed to be the tipping
Wigan
point. I'm thinking
in a
if they get through against Atleti with similar circumstances, because Ronaldo scores in the 93rd minute,
yeah,
that shouldn't be the thing that makes you think this is the guy to be the manager. It should
yes,
be, like you were
no,
saying, on
yeah.
what you do in the league and what realistically is the best they can hope for now. But
Yeah, because the league it is a show of consistency. If you can get top
yeah,
four, that shows that you have the
mm,
managerial quality to do that.
yeah,
And I feel like that's important. You don't want a repeat of the PSG per se, where you get Rio Ferdinand going, give him the contract and that. You want not to react, but like to be smart about it. Like don't just make an impulse decision to sack him or to keep him for like a 2 year deal
mm,
just to get back in the same process of just being good but not good enough. You
yeah,
know, I feel that's
yeah, yeah. It's going to be an interesting time at the end of the season at Manchester United, just which way they
yeah.
go. Um, uh, so from top four
Yeah.
to bottom four, um, another management change at Watford. I suppose we should start with Ranieri. Was he not given
Yeah.
enough time, or was it just a bad idea
Oh
from
no,
the
I feel like the not enough time can be applied to Watford's whole managerial thing for the past couple of years. Because I've had a start saying that now that Roy Hodgson is in, he will be the sixth manager to coach Watford in the Premier League since they last kept a clean sheet.
Yeah,
And that to me, yeah. And that to me speaks volumes about the issue wasn't Ranieri and the issue isn't that Roy Hodgson isn't a bad manager. That this board cannot keep doing this at the rate that they're doing it because eventually you're going to run out of people who want to work there and
Hmm.
you're just going to start imploding. And it's I don't.
Yeah,
Will they be safe from relegation? Maybe. I don't.
yeah. I always feel
It's not.
Watford are a bit of a sort of mini me version of Chelsea, in that the manager isn't that important to them. They keep changing it,
Yeah.
but they're financially pretty well off. I
Yeah.
suppose the Potters bought Watford when they were on the brink of League One, and they've been mostly a Premier League club since.
Yeah.
But it is this, it's fine to say the manager is just the coach and he doesn't do anything else, but you can't keep changing it this frequently. It just
No.
you
Yeah.
can't live off new manager bounces for very long. I mean,
No. Yeah. Like soon it goes from a bounce to like a fall into a puddle. Then all that. But in the championship again, way hey, it's a fun and dance. I feel like the fans are frustrated. I think the players are frustrated because I feel like you'd want to be under the system. You want to have a person there who you can look up to and know, I'm performing for them, for the manager.
yeah,
But if they change every like 3 to 4 months,
yeah,
you know, it doesn't.
yeah,
It
I
doesn't.
agree.
You know.
So it's an odd situation there. I suppose looking at Roy, I mean, it's almost like they've accidentally found the right manager for what they need. You mentioned the lack of clean sheets, and it just feels like a team that can't stop conceding goals but has some exciting players and some pace out wide is probably the right sort of club for Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, and he is stability defined. Like you've seen him, Crystal Palace, they were never in real danger of being relegated, and if you can have that, but just a little bit, I'm like Watford should be fine.
Yeah,
For the rest of
I
the
agree.
season.
Yeah, I mean, I think he took over Palace. I know it was earlier in the season, but they were coming in. I think it was 7 losses in a row, no goals scored, and they stayed up in the end pretty comfortably. Same thing at Fulham. He had the great escape there and took them to a European final after that, and West Brom as well. I just think Roy Hodgson's one of those managers who's good to a point, and it's when you give him the big jobs with really big players that, like at Liverpool, Inter, England. Not very good there, but when it was Switzerland, West Brom, Crystal Palace, it works. And he's bringing Ray Lewington with him predictably again. I think, he's also, I noticed, a few of his old favourite players are there, and Ben Foster's in goal, who he had at West Brom and brought out of retirement for England. So obviously, that's a player he gets on with. Tom Cleverley, he gave him an England debut. Well, he gave him an England career. Basically, no one else picked him after that. I mean, that group just seems quite well suited to Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, it does. It is odd, and well, the principle of just if things go bad, just get rid of the manager. I don't agree with it. It is a good appointment, and he has his system. He's put in his assistant coach for all his jobs, and he's had players who he's worked well with. So if this works at Watford, then it should work really well, because this is a team who really they can do a good job in this league. I've seen against Chelsea, while they did lose or draw that, I think they were a real attacking force in that game. And while Roy isn't known for his free flowing football, it is at the end of the day a combo that could pay off really well, or it could just get the Portos under pressure again from the fans.
One thing I was actually, I was quite impressed with Watford is that they did their January transfers really quickly. I think they brought 4 players straight in the first week of January. They didn't get big names. They bought players for 4 or 5 million, but you think, well, you get them in early, you get them embedded in the team.
Yeah.
And now Roy's there. It just feels like it's almost by accident. But I have to say, for me, out of that current bottom 4, I'm not quite prepared to say Everton are in the relegation fight just yet.
Oh, that's a whole other topic. That's funny.
Yeah. I think of those 4, I thought all along Watford probably are my favourites to get out of it. I don't know if you see it that way.
No, I can see where you're coming from, and if you ask me that at the start of like January, I'd say right away Newcastle, but clearly that isn't working out. They are by this point, the transfer deadline is in a few days now, unless they pull something out of the magic hat and then they go on a massive run. I don't see them getting out. So they're as good as down to me. Norwich again, similar thing. We've seen in the past 2 games they can be good, but after that start they had, it's too little, too late, I think. And the third one would be either Everton or Burnley, and Burnley have this weird magic about them where they seem to get results out of nothing. So they aren't written off yet, I don't feel. So Watford are more than capable of getting out of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I expected Newcastle would have a transfer window kind of almost like a flashier version of what Watford did, that it would get to week 1 because they'd have all this time to prepare, and it's like, right, here's 1, 2, 3, 4 new top class players, and they've got one very good player, one very average player, and maybe another one. We don't know what's going on with Guimaraes at Lyon.
And again, you said that again, this is done at the start of the window is important. Like, and there's Bruno Guimaraes in from Lyon. We are the 27th today. If he gets in, I don't think it'll be just straight away like, oh, you're going to play your first game right away. You can't give these players you can't throw them into the wood mixer right away. They need him to settle in.
Yeah.
And that is a question of whoever Newcastle get. What are they really motivated by? Is it to play for this club who are very likely in the Championship, or is it the real reason?
It's I mean, it's such an unusual. Well, it's almost a unique situation. I think. I mean, if you think back to, I mean, we talked about this weeks ago on the show when the Saudis came in. When City got rich, everyone mentions that they had Micah Richards and Joe Hart and Vincent Kompany. Great, but they also had players who were long gone by the time they were good. But players like Richard Dunn, players like Didi Hamann were there, could steady the ship, get them out of the season, and then spend money. Whereas Newcastle are kind of trying to do it on the fly. So it's looking like it's going to be a tight battle at the bottom this year in England.
Yeah, I feel like the season's main point of excitement is again at the bottom and not near the top because Man City just refused to let us all have fun.
Yeah,
just
well, one division that is looking a bit more fun at the top is Italy. Inter now 4 points clear. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm amazed at how well Inter have done, considering Conte going, Lukaku going, and they've only lost once all season.
It is mad, They lost the spine of their squad, really. They lost, like I said, they lost Hakimi, one of the best wing backs who's called now in the world. Lukaku, who clearly loves his little Inter Milan so much that he just wants to go back there.
Yeah.
And keep winning there. But you really felt as if, plus with the fact that Juventus got back at Allegri and that, you really felt like it's going to be a tough one for Inter to even challenge. And now we're in January, and it's looking, while it's not done and sealed, they've got a scary momentum,
Yeah, exactly. I have to say, I was when I saw they'd signed Inzaghi as the manager, I thought, that's a bit of a appointment because he did well for a while at Lazio, and then it went pear-shaped, and that didn't look good. I thought Dzeko at this point in his career is not. I know he scored a lot of goals in Italy for Roma, but it didn't look.
Yeah, before he's been too on.
I did like that they got Denzel Dumfries from, I think came from Ajax, played well for Holland at the Euros to replace Hakimi. So that was a good deal. But Dzeko, 12 goals already. I mean, it's all just it's gone far better than anyone thought. I think one big thing for them was that Martinez stayed up front. When of the two strikers, much as Lukaku's great, I think Martinez is the more long-term prospect, and keeping him was important.
He reminds me of like a Firmino type one, where he is a striker who isn't known for getting that many goals, but his overall contribution to the team is huge. You do need someone like that to where he can move the defense, he can support the other player, in this case, this Dzeko, and they got Hakan Kalahagi. I don't know how you say his last name, but
it's not how it's spelled. I pronounce it. I found.
No,
you're right. He's been great since he came in for a free. From the San Siro to the San Siro in his case. But, which must make him popular. But it's just all clicked. I mean, and the other thing with Inter is the one knock on Conte was their Champions League record was pretty bad. They kept losing in the group phase. And this time they're through. Can you give them much of a chance against Liverpool?
It's a tough one, and while my heart does say Liverpool, they can. I feel like since they won the Champions League, Liverpool, they've not been as strong as they could have been in the Champions League knockout. Like when they get to like the group stage, they blitz it for some reason, and then they
Yeah,
get to the knockout and they get one opponent who could give them a hard time, and you see cracks here
yeah,
and there. It feels like mentality wise, and I know that doesn't speak of a whole lot of everyone's on the pitch, but Inter could have the stronger
mm,
one
yeah.
out there.
One thing I think gives Inter a really good chance is that obviously they're at home first, and I know that the way
Yeah,
the draw's done, they're saying, well, being away first is better, and obviously that means if it goes to penalties and extra time, you get that at home. But
yeah,
I just think Liverpool have had a few problems away from home in Europe, and if they were to go there and lose, and then and Inter just have to defend a lead with uh, going to Anfield, I think they've got a reasonable shot. I think if they went to Anfield
yeah,
first, they'd probably get done by a couple of goals, and then it's a very different tie. But I think being at home first really should suit Inter.
yeah.
Yeah,
You can't write them off. You know,
yeah, and
there's like there's very little ties that you can't go. Like maybe Man City if you go in, but other than that, they're all one way or the
yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah. And the latest is that Robin Gosens, the German left wing back, is actually about to join them from Atalanta, which,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, another really good signing. Really impressed with him through the summer, even though Germany didn't have a good tournament. So yeah, it's all looking great there.
yeah.
And talking of transfers, we're going to do a game of deal or no deal with some of the transfers we think might happen in the
Uh,
next, what is it now, 4 days, 5 days. But one that we know has happened this week. I mean, there were various transfers this week, but the one that was really eye-catching was Anthony Martial going to
oh
Sevilla.
yeah,
Only on loan to start with, but if he does well, we assume this is going to become permanent.
yeah.
Um, I suppose a legacy of frustration at Old Trafford, never quite
Uh,
lived up to early promise.
yeah, you've summed it up. It is a legacy of frustration. It's only a legacy in that we know that Martial he can be great.
Mm.
Like he is gifted somewhere in the he does have a killer goal, and then you feel like at Sevilla, to me, they're one of the best run clubs in all of Europe, and this
Mm.
again is proof of that. They already have some players who will be recognised with in the French national setup, although he doesn't play that a whole lot. But still, you've got Koundé. It's a whole system that Sevilla and Martial, like it was with Hodgson at Watford. It does feel like a good fit for
Mm.
him, really.
Yeah, yeah, because they're fantastic. They're probably the best
Yeah,
defensive team in Europe at the minute. I think it's 13 goals conceded all season or something ridiculous like that. And it looks like they're keeping Carlos. It doesn't look like he's going to Newcastle. He just, I think Martial gives them something a bit unpredictable going forward. And I can't help
yeah.
thinking back to when Memphis Depay was at Manchester United, didn't work, and then he goes off to Lyon and
And
revives his
then just
career. And
suddenly,
this
yeah.
feels a little bit like that. It's just a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
further out the spotlight.
And you feel like again, it could go identical to what Dubai did. If he just were at Sevilla, play there, for like a few years, and if he really likes it there, he could get a move.
Hmm.
So, but I'm not sure where like where Marshall would prefer, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, but it's
it,
definitely
it,
one
it would give
to
him
keep an eye on.
it
Yeah.
would, it would it would give him the foundation to really show why he was at Man United at all in the first place. You
Okay.
know,
So here's some of the deals that have been talked about at the minute. So we're going to say if it's a deal or no deal. One there's been some developments today. Adama Traore to Tottenham, deal or no deal?
does this game mean just for January or
Yeah, just
in
just
general?
for
Oh,
January or
Right, okay. Then I'll have to say no deal for that one. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I heard as little as 20 million quoted for this, which I thought that can't be right for Traore. He's
No.
feels a good fit, but I suspect it doesn't happen. I think you're right there. Jesse Lingard to West Ham.
West Ham, deal. Yeah, I'd have to say that because you see, he's not getting into like United a whole lot. And mind, West Ham's whole push into getting into the Europa League was helped massively by him being there, by Lingard being on loan. So if they can get him out on loan again, it'll be a permanent deal. I think near around the top four. Like they could legitimately be in the Champions League next year, and like Lingard could legitimately be a helping hand in that, which I never thought I'd say that in my life. We're here, and so yeah, for that I'll have to say deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he's got 6 months left on his contract, and I don't think United want to strengthen a direct rival right now. So I think for him, it's get to the summer and just decide what you want to do and go from there. I agree. Dele Alli to Newcastle. I know Dele Alli is linked with something every single transfer.
Yeah. Like I think I hear the PSG rumors twice at night, but I mean, he just doesn't look happy at all in this Tottenham setup. Like, Conte has his vision, and it's clear that Dele isn't part of that. Whether that's his fault for not having the motivation and training or whatever. But when I think going to Newcastle is a good move for him, I'm not sure, but if it could happen, it could easily happen.
I think he's such a gamble because he's been bad for so long that you think, is this the top? And he's been through several managers there as well. So I think someone will get desperate and go for it, and possibly Newcastle. But I'm with you. I'm going to say no deal. Wijnaldum to Arsenal.
Okay, I didn't even hear about this one, but he's not. I feel like he basically gets a lot for PSG, but he's like big summer signing who's had very little effect, I think. And if you're seeing the links to Arsenal, I think that's proof of that. But I mean, I feel like Arsenal only have quite a good midfield in there. They've got Odegaard, he's going to keep things ticking. You feel like where would Wijnaldum really fit into there?
Yeah.
It would feel like
there's a lot of attacking midfielders mentioned for Arsenal, so I don't know if this. I mean, even though he's not played for PSG, I just think it's been 6 months. You don't let him go that quickly.
I know.
Maybe you look at it in the summer. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to AC Milan.
I do think he needs to leave the club. Arsenal, he's got rid of his captaincy. He wasn't that great at the Cup of Nations for Gabon, and so I feel that he'll leave Arsenal, but AC Milan, do they need? I mean, they do have two.
They're not short of
older strikers. Yeah, I know. So I do agree that he would need to move on over in the next few days or over the summer. But the AC Milan, I'm not too sure. So for that specifically, I'll say no deal.
I think there's a few he could go to, but I'm going to say deal because I don't think. I think someone will just do it on deadline day, and I think with the other moves in Italy, I could just see Milan doing something like that, but we'll see. This is the strangest one that I cannot believe that this player has been linked with this club, but it's been widely reported. Aaron Ramsey to Burnley. Surely not. Surely he can do better.
I don't think he's at that stage. No, he's no deal. I think you don't even need to blame that one. I think let's not.
I thought someone like Everton or maybe even the romantic move back to Arsenal, but surely not Burnley. I mean, I think Burnley will do something, but I think this will be too big for them.
It's been a circle into a square peg hole, he wouldn't fit in at all there.
Yeah. Another one that's been a lot of talk of, Brendan Aronson from RB Salzburg to Leeds.
Oh, so that's why you mentioned him. Oh, yeah. Well, again, we don't know. There's not enough info about Aronson in this case because he plays for Salzburg, and while they are a good team, they have a heavy youth policy as does the whole Red Bull group thing, and he does sound like a lead signing. He's young, he's got
he
promising talent.
player,
Yeah. And he, as far as I know, he is more of like a classic number 10 in that kind of free roaming mode, which I think for Leeds under Bielsa, his whole philosophy is just to let the players be more expressive and almost unpredictable. So while it wouldn't be a guaranteed good move, it would make sense to me.
Yeah.
So,
I think this is a deal, but I'm going to say they learn him back or something, and he doesn't join them till June. I think because they're still in the Champions League. I think it'll be something like that, but I think it will happen. Frankie De Jong going from Barcelona to Bayern, which I'm going to say deal on this one because I think
really.
Yeah, it sounds like Xavi doesn't want him, and that they probably are just trying to offload the players he doesn't want. So I can actually see this one. I think especially since Thiago's gone, it just feels like it could be a fit.
Yeah, like Bayern, they do miss something with Thiago gone. Although I mean, I feel like that's a mistake from like both. And if like Xavi does just want rid of De Jong, I feel like that's a bad move. But if it's to Bayern, I could see it working out. So yeah, deal. I feel like you've seen yourself in the fit with that one Barcelona.
Okay, last one I've got another Dutch player who's never seems to have settled at Manchester United. Donny Van Der Beek to Crystal Palace or anywhere else.
Oh well, if it's anywhere else, then yeah, deal. You know, he's in a prison right now. I feel like I don't even know what the deal is. Like, has Ragnick given them much time in the spotlight? Like, is it a player problem? Is he just not doing training?
Yeah.
All that I don't. It's so confusing. I don't.
Yeah, I think what makes me worry about Van Der Beek is that this is not the first manager where this has happened. It's now two.
No, yeah, like
you think,
it's what I'm thinking.
It's not he doesn't get on with a manager or something, or he's just not his cup of tea. There's something else. I could see definitely a deal. I think he can do better than Palace still. I think there's others mentioned. I think Dortmund would, but that I don't think they'd go for it. But I mean that would be fantastic for him.
I feel like a move abroad would be what he wants. Clearly, I don't think he became to stay in England after what he's had to go for the first year. And a half.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel you could go romantic and go back to Ajax, but is that what you want? You know, like they are really good right now, and so would they even want them back? Like it sounds harsh, but you see how they're flying under Ten Hag, and would he fit back in there after spending so long not getting a minute of?
Yeah, I mean that would be a good move for him, but there again, Ten Hag might be at Old Trafford in the summer as well. So it's all up in the air. Okay, so that's about all we've got time for this week on the False Nine. We'll be back next week when we'll be seeing what did happen in the transfer window and who did make a late move. No Premier League this weekend, but there is football on. There's a Cup of Nations coming up to an end.
There's always football on, And if we're here next week, and if we're seeing that Aaron Ramsey is at Burnley, then you know, I don't know what I'll do then, but it's.
Yeah, I can't wait for Aaron Ramsey holding a Burnley shirt up, stood next to Sean Dyche, saying this is his dream move. I mean, that would be hilarious, but we'll have to wait and see. So, in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And Luke should be back with us again next week, and maybe Tyler. So, goodbye, everyone.
Right, thank you. Right, goodbye.
Bye.